was a pharmacy technician at a hospital with a psych ward for some time. We would have to go around with a cart and dispense the patient's medications, and being a 5'2" girl, a security guard or a male nurse would accompany me, just as precaution. I never had real issues other than the occasional death grip onto my arm or maniac outburst, but there was one boy who was entirely different. His chart said he was 9 years old and that he had pale skin, dark hair, bright green eyes. He always greeted me in the most polite way, asked how I was doing, and always found something different to compliment me on every time. He was extremely well-spoken and mature for his age, so I began looking forward to seeing him, as normal small talk is definitely cherished in that setting. If he saw me outside of his room in the halls, he'd make sure to say hello and call me Miss Jones or ma'am. One day, a couple of our female nurses saw me pause to chat with him in the hallway and waved me over to ask if I was out of my mind. Apparently, when he was in kindergarten, he grew an intense attachment to his young female teacher. This escalated to the point of him calling her mom and leaving her notes about how he wished he was her son. He had a normal home life with both parents, and the teacher tried to explain to him that she could not be his mom because that would hurt his real mother's feelings, and that she already had that job covered. So, he went home, and he killed his mother in her sleep by cutting her throat, so his teacher could be his mom. The female staff had a general rule of not interacting with him excessively to prevent any kind of attachment forming. So, don't judge a book by its cover, I think. I worked at a mental hospital for about 5 years. The scariest patient incident involved a patient who had just had surgery to remove an object that she swallowed. I'm down the hall when I hear a nurse scream for help. I run to the patient's room, and she had already opened up her stapled shut incisions and was holding what looked like a part of her intestines in her hands. Blood was everywhere. She didn't seem to feel anything, though, and when we approached her, she just gave me this look, as if I was interrupting her. I almost fainted from the sight. I quit my job shortly after. Out of all the things I've seen there, that one sent me over the edge. Not inpatient, but an outpatient case manager here. I've worked with a lot of people who have pretty significant drug abuse, violence, erratic behavior, and a few people with murder convictions. For the most part, none of them fazed me too much. I've gotten all kinds of stories about the stuff that's happened with them, but I've only really had one client I'd ever been afraid of. He was new to the agency, so I did his intake. Homeless guy, early 60s, diagnosed with schizophrenia. He was currently living on the streets and was open that he had serious issues with drugs. He talked about his violent outbursts. He would get angry, paranoid, and cut up other homeless guys he thought were out to get him. While talking, I then learned that he had been incarcerated previously for murdering his wife with a shotgun. He did so in his account because he was depressed and the voices told him to kill her. Again, none of this typically was out of the ordinary for me, but what scared me was his attitude. He described the murder without any prompting in a graphic but almost literate way, during which he smiled blissfully, then finishing saying that after the murder was completed he felt relieved, like a great heavy cloud lifted from my head. He was insightful about his symptoms, but didn't seem to care. Again, this was not the first person with a murder rap, nor with schizophrenia that I'd ever worked with. But he scared the shit out of me. It was an animal instinct, if anything. After he was assigned to me, I never really saw him again. Last I heard, he left for his hometown. But I still see him around occasionally. Or at least I think I do. Thank you so much for watching my channel and listening to my narrations. I want to give a special thanks to the people who have created these stories. I'll be posting 2 videos every single week, so like and subscribe. This is Sinister Grave.